The Animal Kingdom. A remarkable collection of living, breathing natural wonders. Enthralling. Impressive. Tenacious. And nurturing. Innovative. Tough. Surprising. Always genuine. Discover their past, present, and future. Just breathtaking. Just intriguing. Just tremendous. Just animals. Insects. The multitude that make the air buzz. Earth is the planet of the insects. It's been estimated that for every one of us, there are 1.4 billion of them. Of all known animal species, insects make up at least 80% of the creatures found on Earth. These delicate appendages are often attributed to the extraordinary success of insects. They are the only invertebrates with wings. The power of flight allows many bugs to broaden their horizons, taking them farther afield to colonize new territory, or to help make a swift escape. Survival is something insects excel at. Members of this class have been around for hundreds of millions of years, some predating and outliving the dinosaurs. Though small, these creatures are mighty. The only environments insects have not managed to conquer are those near active volcanoes and the frozen extremes. At times, they may be annoying, but without bugs, we would be lost. Pollination, decomposition, environmentally friendly pest control, food, and ethereal beauty. A small sample of the gifts that insects bestow on the world. The diversity of insects is astounding. Yet they all have one thing in common: a body made of 3 parts. What they do not have is a backbone, making them invertebrates. The fact that they lack a spine is no handicap. More than 90% of the planet's creatures are invertebrates. Corals, jellyfish, and clams are all types of invertebrates, as are arthropods. there are 4 types of arthropods: crustaceans, myriapods, arachnids, and insects. A tough external skeleton, or exoskeleton, is one distinguishing feature of arthropods. Members of this class also have segmented bodies and at least 3 pairs of jointed legs. While some of their close relatives have numerous legs, insects only ever have 3 pairs. Three seems to be a special number for insects. Their bodies comprised of a head, thorax, and abdomen. The head is tasked with feeding and sensory perception. Insects have 1 pair of compound eyes and up to 3 simple eyes, or ocelli, light-sensitive organs. An insect's head is adorned with 1 pair of antennae, located between or above the eyes. Typically, an insect's mouth has a pair of upper jaws, or mandibles, that move from side to side, and claw-like lower jaws called maxillae that manipulate food. The midsection of an insect's body is the thorax. Transport is its main task. A thorax is made up of 3 segments, each with its own pair of legs. The last 2 segments on an insect's thorax may also support a pair of wings, known as forewings and hindwings respectively. Finally, the abdomen, the largest, softest section of an insect's body. Within it are the organs in charge of digestion, reproduction, and perhaps surprisingly, respiration. Insects don't have lungs. Instead, they breathe in air via tubes connected to a series of pores, or spiracles, located along both sides of their abdomen. The science world has classified insects into at least 29 orders. Which insect is the largest? There are a few contenders, depending on length or weight. One of the biggest is the titan beetle. Found in the Amazon rainforest, they can grow to almost 17 centimeters. Similar in size is the Hercules beetle from the Americas. Another impressive example is Asia's atlas moth, with wings wider than a human handspan. At the other end of the insect spectrum are petite creatures, such as fruit flies, which measure about 3 millimeters. Approximately 3 to 6 times smaller are the best contenders for the tiniest known insects, the fairy wasps. Be they titans or simply tiny, insects are truly fascinating. $5.5 million. A recent estimate of the number of insect species that fly, hop, and crawl about the globe. Of the known insects, the largest order are the coleopterans, better known as beetles. Coleoptera means sheath wings, in reference to the hard protective front wings, or elytra, that encase a beetle's hind wings. These miniature warriors are rhino beetles, named for their distinctive horns. Only the males have horns, using their formidable weapons to compete for mating rights and also for digging. Rainbow stag beetles from New Guinea are equally feisty. Weevils are also classed as beetles. This unusual example is a giraffe weevil from Madagascar. The long necks of the males are used for fighting and nest building. This next type of beetle may be small, but they are well known. While many ladybirds are bright red, they can come in yellow and orange, with a varying number of spots. Another large, diverse order of insects are the true flies, or dipterans, which means 2 wings. Mosquitoes are an infamous member of this group. Slender bodies, long antennae and legs being typical features. Their fly cousins have different builds, sturdy bodies and short antennae. A group of insects often seen flitting about are butterflies and moths. Again, their wings are responsible for the name of their order, Lepidoptera, which means scaly wings. To differentiate between the two groups, there are various clues to look for. Butterflies tend to be vibrant and rest with their finely scaled wings folded. In comparison, moths have furry, stout bodies. When settled, they leave their scaly wings open. The next group of insects are named for their membranous wings. The Hymenoptera, bees, wasps, and ants are some common examples. Bees tend to have furry, rotund bodies. In contrast, wasps have bare, tubular bodies with narrow waistlines. In the ant world, only reproductive ants have wings, and then only during the breeding season. Insects are often generally called bugs, but there's only one group of true bugs, the critters that belong to the order Hemiptera. They all share one common feature, a sucking mouthpart. Another order of sucking insects are the Siphonapterans, better known as fleas. These small, flightless parasites feed exclusively on blood. Dragonflies and their aviation skills are said to have inspired the design of helicopters. They, along with damselflies, are odonatas, toothed flies. One type of insect that can evoke a strong response is the cockroach, a type of Blatodion a Latin term that means to shun the light. Termites also belong to this order, despite their similarity to ants. Apart from looks, these two distinct groups do share something. They both exhibit social behavior. It's true that some insects cause revulsion, but others can spark intrigue, such as the phasmids, better known as stick insects. This is a baby or nymph spiny stick insect from Australia, pretending to be a fearsome ant. Keeping a lower profile in the folds of a leaf is a native of the Western Pacific, a peppermint stick insect. While camouflage is a speciality of phasmids, orthopterans are especially talented jumpers. This agile group includes grasshoppers, locusts, and crickets. With such incredible diversity, the 29 orders of the insect world will likely never cease to captivate any that take time to stop and watch them in action. To survive and thrive in any given environment, insects rely on an assortment of skills and adaptations. One way insects ensure their kind will live on is to produce a large number of offspring. While not all of them make it, enough do. This survival strategy is more about the longevity of the species rather than the individual. Another survival tactic some insects use is to behave as a unit. Ants and termites, plus some bees and wasps, live in large, organized colonies, working together for the collective good. This is known as eusocial behavior. Members of a colony have defined roles. With honeybees, only the queen reproduces. Male drones breed with the queen, and the female workers perform a number of tasks, such as caring for larvae, producing wax, and foraging. Acting as one has its benefits, such as safety in numbers. No matter their size, every insect comes with their own natural suit of armor, their tough exoskeleton. An insect's exterior can also help it hide in plain sight. Some simply choose to blend in, while others take things a step further. Stick insects are masters of mimicry, their bodies taking on the appearance of their leafy homes. This huntsman spider is crawling by a huge opportunity. Should their camouflage fail them, peppermint stick insects have a clever backup. The ability to douse an attacker with a repellent spray. Equally unappetizing is the larval form of an orchard swallow-tailed butterfly from Papua New Guinea. The mottled skin of these caterpillars make them look like bird droppings. When it comes to survival, an insect's wings are obvious assets. Aerial transport boosts their ability to find food, suitable environments, and to quickly escape threats. Wings can also help to ward off danger. Some butterflies have eye spots on their wings that are thought to scare off predators. or draw their attention away from vulnerable body parts. Bright colours and striking patterns often act as a warning in nature. Animals that use this tactic are called aposematic, using their bodies like a billboard to advertise the fact they are unappetizing and not worth the trouble. Bad tastes and smells are only a couple of ways insects defend themselves. If threatened, bees, wasps, and ants can strike back with venom-laced stingers. Another means of escape is jumping. A centipede is on the prowl amongst leaf litter. It's found a target. This predator is fast. But the hind legs of the cricket power it to safety. Catering skills are a must for any insect. And desert-dwelling honeypot ants have devised an ingenious way to ensure their masses never go hungry. Hanging from the ceiling of this underground nest are living storage vessels, special worker ants called repletes. During the rainy season, when food is plentiful, the repletes are fed drop by drop with nectar, plus body fluids from prey. Then, when the seasons change and supplies run low, the repletes are ready to serve up a meal to their hungry cohorts. The leafcutter ant from the American tropics is another innovative provider. As their name suggests, these insects harvest sections of leaves. The cuttings are then marched down to their underground nest. To help keep them on track, scent trails are laid down. Leafcutter ants don't actually eat their cargo. Instead, this plant material will become compost that produces an edible fungus for these miniature farmers to enjoy. Like other animals, insects rely on their senses to help them interpret their surroundings. Compound eyes, and ocelli, are photoreceptors, sensory organs that detect light. Mechanoreceptors sense movement as well as vibrations. Hairs are the simplest type of these receptors. Clumps of these sensitive hairs can be seen behind the head, on legs, or close to joints. Some insects hear through tympanal organs, drum-like membranes which can be located on the thorax, the abdomen, or on the front leg. For smells in the air and tastes on surfaces, insects have chemoreceptors. The mouth has many taste receptors, but they also exist on their antennae, feet, and genitals. Thanks to their senses, well-honed adaptations, and clever skill sets, these comparatively small creatures are an immense success around the globe. There's no doubt that dinosaurs left an impressive mark on Earth's history. But insects have as well. Some of these ancient critters had an incredible head start over those reptilian giants. While the earliest dinosaurs date back 245 million years, the ancestors of insects are thought to have been around for at least twice that time. When terrestrial plants began to flourish 500 million years ago, so did insects. Dragonflies are the closest modern relatives to the first winged insects. Approximately 300 million years ago, prehistoric insects were at their largest. Dragonfly-like creatures had wingspans of up to 70 centimeters. It's thought these early insects were able to reach such massive proportions because oxygen levels were higher at that point in time. 100 million years later, fossil evidence shows grasshoppers and crickets began to hop about. In another 30 million years, cockroaches joined them. Flies, ants, bees, and wasps followed. After the fall of the dinosaurs, it was time for praying mantises to rise. As for their arthropod cousins, researchers believe that insects and crustaceans went their separate ways between 500 and 450 million years ago. Myriapods are just as ancient. And the first spiders beat dinosaurs by about 150 million years. So, in the grand scheme of life on Earth, being small is no disadvantage. One of the qualities that draws attention to insects is their wide range of interesting behaviors. Some are instinctive, such as how the creature gets around. The act of grooming. Or knowing when and how to spin a cocoon. Another is how insects move at a constant 90-degree angle to a source of light, known as the dorsal light reaction. This innate habit of keeping the sun directly above them helps an insect in flight stay parallel to the ground. In addition, insects are capable of learning. Worker honeybees show off this ability every time they leave the hive. In order to make it back with their precious supplies, they must memorize landmarks. One behavior insects are famous for is this. Their use of sound to communicate is hard to ignore. Male cicadas make their calls by vibrating membranes in their bellies. Another way signals can be transmitted is via chemicals. Many insects produce pheromones, chemicals that prompt changes in the behavior of members of the same species. A trail can be laced with pheromones to help guide ants along a certain path. Pheromones have other uses. When insects are ready to breed, many species advertise the fact by releasing pheromones. In addition, these chemicals can work like a siren. a guard weaver ant has detected invaders. In response, it's releasing an alarm pheromone, a silent but effective call to arms. Migration is another behavior seen amongst insects. Monarch butterflies are well known for their marathon flights. In the Americas, millions of monarchs migrate south from Canada in the autumn. The journey can cover more than 3,000 kilometers. Eventually, the masses settle in Southern California and Mexico, where they enjoy a milder winter. At the end of the day, the butterflies start to perch together in clusters, known as roosts. This behavior is thought to be a survival tactic. A cold butterfly cannot take off. Being in a warm crowd gives them a better chance should predators attack. In early spring, these masses will begin their journey northwards. Using an internal compass, in combination with directional cues from the sun, these delicate insects are well equipped to navigate their way. Being part of a colony means the members enjoy improved foraging or hunting success. Above ground, a group of Australian bulldog ants have landed some food. These fresh supplies will keep the growing larvae below satisfied. During this early phase, they are carnivorous, meat eaters. On the same continent, a hunting party of weaver ants make light work of their large catch. Gradually, the group coordinates their movements to shift this feast through the trees, then up and into their nest. Weaver ants are named for their outstanding construction skills. Teamwork is second nature to these petite builders. First, worker ants will locate good nesting leaves, then grip onto the edge with their vice-like mandibles. Next, others form ant chains, linking their legs together. Then, as a coordinated group, they pull and bend the leaves into a tent shape. To glue this marvelous dwelling in place, the youngest members of the colony are brought out to help. Adults squeeze the larvae, encouraging them to secrete silk that binds the leafy walls together. When completed, these oval-shaped nests can be half a meter long, a feat that's often accomplished in less than 24 hours. This type of group mentality, behaving for the good of the many, is one of the clever strategies insects employ to ensure their ongoing survival. Change is a big part of life, especially for insects. To start a new generation, they can use a variety of methods to find a partner. Visual signals, such as gender-specific colors, can alert any patrolling male that they're in luck. Some insects communicate their desires through sound. Cicadas sing. and crickets chirp, in the hope their songs will lure receptive females. Others release pheromones. Those emitted by female Cecropia silk moths are so potent they can attract mates kilometers away. While many creatures have relatively simple life cycles, insects develop in a more complicated way. They, along with amphibians, go through metamorphosis, a multi-stage process which sees the animal quickly go through extreme physical changes from the time they hatch. With insects, there are two types of metamorphosis: complete, which takes 4 stages, and incomplete, which occurs in 3 stages. About 90% of insects develop via complete metamorphosis, which begins with an egg. These are monarch butterfly eggs, the size of a pencil tip. They hatch about 4 days after being laid. The larvae's first meal is often the egg casing. Then they start on the milkweed leaves their mother laid them on. As they mature, bright stripes appear on their bodies, a hint of what's to come. After feasting for 2 weeks, the caterpillars look for somewhere to pupate. Pupation is a time of transformation. Adult structures form, while the immature body breaks down. Finally, the adult stage emerges. Now free of its chrysalis, this butterfly will spend about an hour drying its wings and pumping hemolymph, the blood-like fluid of insects, around its body. In 5 to 7 days, it will be ready to find a mate and start off a new generation. In summer, the average monarch lives for 6 weeks. Those that migrate in the autumn can survive for about 6 months. Insects that go through incomplete metamorphosis also hatch from eggs. But the youngsters that emerge are not larvae. These immature creatures are called nymphs. In this type of metamorphosis, the pupal stage is skipped. Instead, the growing nymphs shed and molt their exoskeletons between 4 to 8 times. Gradually, they form reproductive organs. And finally, wings, which are present by their last molt. Scientists believe the reason why insects go through metamorphosis is because it reduces competition for resources. Larvae generally consume different types of food to their adult counterparts. Less competition for food means juveniles have a better chance of reaching the breeding stage. A win for the species as a whole. Food is an essential part of life, and insects refuel their bodies in a variety of ways. There are a number of different mouth types seen on insects. One is the chewing mouthpart. Insects with this type of mouthpart munch their food side to side. Some insects do not chew. Instead, they have sponging mouthparts. Nectar is a popular food source, and lapping mouthparts work like straws to help insects, such as butterflies, drink their fill. Another way insects access their preferred food source is via a sucking mouthpart. Often, they are sword-like. Mosquitoes have a cluster of 6 needles to help them dine on blood. Roughly 50% of insects are herbivorous, meaning they eat plant material. Peppermint stick insects do not have to travel far for a meal. They take shelter amongst their favourite food, spiky pandanus leaves. Locusts are generally solitary creatures, but when food supplies are abundant, populations boom. Swarms can be made up of tens of millions of locusts. Their voracious appetites are often devastating. And when the greenery runs out, locusts are known to become cannibalistic. As a kind of payback, some plants are able to even the score with insects. Carnivorous plants, like the famous Venus flytrap, have trigger hairs that snap their leafy cages shut when set off by wandering visitors. A close call. Not all are that lucky. While carnivorous diets are unusual for plants, many insects thrive on meat, such as this antlion larva. This tiny predator is cunning, burrowing into the sand, ready to ambush any prey that slip down this sandy funnel. The larva's trap has worked. From a peaceful stance comes the lethal blow of a praying mantis. Once these stealthy predators commit to striking out, they cannot stop this reflex action. It is that quick. Many insects are predators, but no matter their diet, they are all potential prey. While they're both arthropods, this centipede shows its katydid cousin no mercy. A meal is a meal. Without insects in the mix, food chains would collapse. Apart from being a food source, insects play other important roles in the environment. Pollination is one. The majority of crops would fail if these industrious foragers did not visit. Down on ground level, the actions of insects can aerate the soil. The tunnels they dig allow water, oxygen, and nutrients to reach plant roots. Many species help to recycle nutrients, feeding on rotting materials and speeding up the decomposition process. The eating habits of insects are beneficial in that they keep their overall numbers in check. In addition, many good bugs are now used as natural pest controls, replacing harmful chemicals. Apart from the bounty insects help to provide, these small creatures bring something simpler to the world: fascinating beauty. With their long history and countless numbers, it's no surprise that insects have been making an impact on humanity for millennia. Ancient Egyptian artworks and hieroglyphics often star the scarab beetle, symbols of renewal and resurrection. They are often associated with Khepri, the god of creation, rebirth, and the morning sun. It was believed this scarab-headed entity was responsible for moving the sun across the sky, in the same way the beetles roll their balls of dung. In ancient Greece, the goddess of soul, Psyche, was often depicted with butterfly wings. These delicate threads, produced by silkworms, are the reason behind one of the best-kept secrets in history. The Chinese art of silk production was closely guarded for thousands of years. Finally, in about 130 BC, the Han Dynasty officially started trade with the West via the Silk Road, an ancient series of trade routes that not only saw the exchange of this precious fabric, but also ideas, culture, and prosperity. A remarkable legacy for a humble caterpillar. Bees have been cherished through the ages. In ancient Greece, the city of Ephesus had a strong association with bees. They symbolized Artemis, the goddess of fertility and nature. The city built a temple in her honor. It eventually became known as one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Its ruins stand in what is present-day Turkey. It's extraordinary how influential and inspiring this vast group of relatively small animals has been, and continues to be. The effect insects have on the planet and its well-being is undeniable. They may not have a backbone, yet these invertebrates support many life forms. Yes, there are billions of them, but their numbers are on the decline. Researchers working internationally have been reporting drops in biomass and diversity for decades. An insect's small size gives it no immunity. They face the same threats as other larger members of the animal kingdom. Habitat loss, pollution, overuse of agricultural chemicals, extreme weather conditions, climate change. Humans tend to see themselves as the dominant species on Earth. As such, it falls on us to look out for insects, the planet's unsung heroes. By raising awareness about the myriad of benefits insects provide, scientists hope our habits will shift. Knowing that insects pollinate the crops that produce over 1/3 of the world's food supplies should be incentive enough. On the plus side, insects are, by nature, masters of adaptation. Their their astounding resilience has seen them survive eons of change. Many around the globe are working to assist the recovery of insects through breeding programs and the use of organic fertilizers. Simple actions such as planting native flowers and placing out feeding stations can make a difference to local insect populations. Setting up an insect hotel is another option. By providing a large selection of nooks and crannies, these structures can accommodate a wide range of guests. Enough small changes can lead to positive outcomes, not only for insects, but the entire animal kingdom.